Hi, what is going on, everybody? Let's get into the pro wrestling shoot. I know we got a couple people waiting in here. We'll do a little pre-conversation, man. There's a lot of stuff that happened in the pro wrestling world and for WWE 2K24's future. WWE 2K23 dropped a microtransaction that everybody hates. CM Punk was backstage at Impact Bound for Glory. Impact is now changing their name to TNA, back to TNA. We got a lot of stuff to dive into, James. So I say let's just get into it.
Yes. Pro Wrestling Shoot!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Welcome to the show. I am Jesse Carter. Joined with me, as always, James Pinard Jr. James, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just a normal Tuesday. I had to go to LAX, which was not fun. So fighting with traffic, you know how it is.
Yeah, I know
it
how
just
that
gave
is.
me memories the last time we were near LAX, and well, you know how that was. For in and out down the street took us half hour?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been crazy. You hobbled in to the studio today. What happened to your foot?
I have no idea. Maybe it was the way I arched my foot. I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess I would say from you. You obviously drive a little longer than me. It's my foot. It's my non-driving foot. So I don't know. Maybe I just had it at an arch. I don't know if. Maybe I don't know.
Well,
do you put yours flat? Do you have it arched up?
When I'm driving?
Yeah.
Well, I'm driving a big truck for work, but I'm driving local onto construction sites all the time. So I am dealing with construction. So my foot's flat, but for the most part, man, I crank that thing in I don't know. I usually keep my foot flat when I'm driving, so I don't have a problem with that. If anything, I'm going to twist my ankle when I get out of my truck for the most part because the truck's pretty big. But for the most part, man, I keep that thing on cruise control. You know what I'm saying? Let's hit up a couple people in the chat. Mike, what's going on? He says Jesse and James, yeah. Gabe says let's go. Josh says hey guys, or Jason, sorry, says hey guys. And then we got Michael in the chat. Michael Gonzalez says CM Punk, we're going to the WWE, not TNA. Well, we don't really know where CM Punk is going to end up when it comes to him. I don't even know if he's going to be wrestling anymore. Yeah, it seems like he's trolling, but I don't know if he's actually going to be wrestling anymore.
Yeah, it's either, to me, I mean, we're going to get down to it, but it's either WWE or I think he'll just, hang up the boots and just do whatever else with his life. Go watch some Chicago Blackhawks, maybe go see, go hang out with his wife, do what she's doing. Who knows? Maybe eventually do some heels.
Yeah, if Heels ever comes back, I don't know what's going on with Heels right now, but hopefully it makes its return, man, because
you can't just leave
what a great
on
show.
The ending. You can't just leave it like that. So
what a cliffhanger to end the show on, to cancel the show. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Stars, you're not forgiven. I've already canceled your subscription. I will never come back. You made a mistake, bud. You lost a customer. You lost a customer in me. James, we got a new background, man. We got video background. We're in the arena, as you can see. I'm digging these new looks on StreamYard, man. I got a lot of backgrounds made. I've custom made, 6, 7 backgrounds and more to come because we're going to be doing a full gear show. We're going to do a Halloween show next week. I don't think that... Look, I'm not dressing up for Halloween. James wants to come on, shave his. You
can't just go. You can go. You're Hogan. Come on, go wearing your. Rock your Hulk Hogan. You can wear it all. Come on.
We're not doing that. So, I don't dress up for Halloween. It's just one of those things that I just don't do. Like it's.
I just do it for the parties.
Guy.
That's it. I just do it for parties. The trick or treating, I take someone else, and just wear whatever.
I don't do any of that, man. I don't do any.
No trick or treaters at your home.
Shut my lights down.
Oh, you're one of those. Oh.
Shut my lights down.
You don't not even like, hey, grab one piece of candy as you go.
No. Shut my lights down, sir. No soliciting, please. Anyway, anyway,
Make sure to egg that house.
we don't do that around here, man. I'm in the burbs, dude. We don't do that around here. Anyway, yeah, dude. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the short content this week. It's been a good week for the Pro Wrestling Shoot. We've grown over 140 subscribers, I want to say. 140, man. We are past 2,000. We are now on our way to 3K. Let's keep that going, man. Let's keep that energy going. I got more content on the way. I'm only going to be dropping one video later this week, probably around Sunday, I would say. Video on Sunday. I dropped a video this last Sunday. I know the week before I dropped 2 videos, but man, I've been busy. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. We got a big thing planned out with her. So, yep, gonna be busy, man. But until then, enjoy the short content that I'm dropping over in our shorts section, and as well as on TikTok. I'm dropping some content over there on TikTok, man. We could do more things from the phone than I can in the studio. I can't always stay in the studio, but man, you guys are appreciated. I welcome all your ideas for the WWE 2K franchise, and thank you so much to everybody who's been supporting the content thus far. There's a lot more to come. I'm excited about it. James, how you feeling about WWE 2K?
You know, I mean, we're in October. Usually it's released March. I think it was right March. It's gonna sneak up on us. You know, I'm not sure when we're gonna get news, but little by little, you know, of course, your awesome content and videos. Of course, go check it out, guys. Um, yeah, the microtransactions, possible future to the next game. Um, you know, you got possibly in it's a little scoop here, maybe at a shoe deal, like we mentioned, with new Bad Bunny model and just a little engravement. Um, there's going to be more additions to it. Is it positive or negative? We'll see how it comes out. But you know, it's always exciting to see 2K24. I know it's kind of like if you think about like Madden, if you will, with like new addition roster additions, and then you know a couple of new game types. It's always exciting for a 2K game. It's always when it's always a nail biter of like, hey, what are they gonna add on? What are they gonna add on? Who's in this game? What's added here? It's always a fun filled surprise. And the way they orchestrate everything, like doing reveals, um, it's honestly exciting. We usually sit around and watch. Is the way they just bring out the game and show us, hey, this is included. This is going to be in this game. Oh, and let's see what you get for DLC. Just a little hints in there. Even the roadmap they did before, making fans like speculate. Oh, this person's in there. This person's in there. They, for sure, 2K23 blew our mind. I'm excited for 2K24 for sure.
You're lagging out hard, sir. You're lagging out hard. WWE 2K23 did just drop a microtransaction, and a lot of people were not happy about that. But look, it's the future of gaming. I don't know if James is stuck on your guys' screen like he's stuck on mine, but this is classic. I should screenshot this and just send it to him. But yeah, man, it's crazy that the fans got in an uproar about these microtransactions when it came to WWE 2K. The cool thing about it was Adidas and brands were added into WWE 2K. So we got a pair of Adidas shoes. Could this be the future? Could we get more brands added later? I know a lot of people like to wear those Jordan 1s, man, them retro Jordan 1s. They wrestle in them. So who knows, man? This could be something of the future. I am not happy about the price point when it came to the 2K stuff, and we just lost James. He'll return, everybody. But yeah, dude, the price point was really rough. I'm not a big fan of the price points when it comes down to $9.99 for one model. You get, and it's not even a model, man. It's an alt attire. Let's say it how it is. It's an alt attire with a T-shirt that you can make in creations, and it's some My Faction stuff, and you know how we feel about My Faction over here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot. So, man, I did send Brian Williams that showcase video that I made. I know a lot of you guys in the chat seen that showcase video. Brian Williams has seen that. Well, Brian Williams has seen most of my videos, but I tend not to send him the hateful ones like the My Faction videos. But when it comes to the ideas and everybody's, ideas in the comments and stuff, those are getting seen by him because I'm sending them to him. I did get some good feedback on that showcase stuff. So we'll have to just see what happens for showcase, man. I'm pretty excited to see what they do with this game. I don't know. James, you're back. Welcome back, James.
Yeah, I don't know. We got an alert from Spectrum. There's an outage in our area.
Oh, we might be doing this dolo over here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot.
Shout out to Spectrum.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Let's get to a couple comments, and then we'll talk about CM Punk, and we'll talk about TNA, all that fun stuff. Jason says, are you looking forward to the possibility of the possible return of Randy Orton? Who do you think he wants to get his hands on first? James?
Well, it's been rumored that he is possibly going to be at Survivor Series. I've heard speculations it's going to be, we always get the tradition of War Games. We think we're going to get one. It's interesting because we're going to this possibly Raw versus SmackDown. I don't know if they're just going to transition this of all the bloodline, obviously on Raw, and, I guess convert it into like a feud, but Raw versus SmackDown pretty much. And I think Orton's going to be in the mix. I don't recall. I don't think he's gone after Roman Reigns. Maybe that's going to be his first thought to go after. Work with Kevin Owens, Cody. But I think that's where he's going to go. And it's remarkable because there was, from his father a while back, said that he's done. He can't wrestle anymore. The doctor said he's not good to clear. He's not clear. And they told him to hang it up. But he seems to say otherwise.
Now, this is not confirmed, obviously. This is all speculation at this point that Randy Orton's coming back. But if he does, I'm excited for it because Randy Orton is probably the longest lasting WWE star from that era, I would say. Maybe John Cena.
Just about. They're in the mix, and it's interesting that Cena posting some time ago, I'm not leaving. So maybe he's staying longer than we think.
Now, did the strike ever end for the writer's strike? Did that ever end?
The writers it did, but the actors no.
Okay. Well, we'll have to just see what happens, man. Everybody, it's wild times in pro wrestling. I feel like every time that I put CM Punk on a thumbnail, it either gets a lot of traction or it gets zero traction. So we got a short crowd here tonight, about 8 people in the chat so far. Welcome to everybody, man. We are going to talk about Impact and whether or not this is even worth rebranding back to TNA because, what is his name? Scott D'Amore, right? He announced that Impact is no more starting at Hard to Kill. In January, January 2024, Las Vegas. They're running actually a pretty cool arena. I did see the pictures of the arena.
Yeah, the Palms Casino, which I don't think wrestling has ever gone there, so I think they're the first. Interesting. When I brought this up to you, just like everyone else, it's okay. They're going back to TNA, and there's a lot of discussion about it. Is it good? Is it bad? I guess I'll bring it up to you. How do you feel about TNA returning?
First of all, I guess what I think it's no secret over here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot that I am just not a fan of Impact Wrestling. What they're doing right now, I'm not taking anything away from the talent that they have over there. It's just not something that I enjoy. It's not a product I enjoy watching. So I don't talk about it over here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot. I really don't unless something major happens, and then we can talk about it. I enjoy watching Bully Ray wrestle. I enjoy watching Mike Bailey wrestle. Chris Bay. There's a few others, you know what I mean, that I really enjoy watching.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of, it's escaping me right now. Eric Young.
Chris Sabin.
Eric Young. Oh, yeah. Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin. Legends to me, man. One of the best tag teams in the world. So I enjoy them. I just think that when I watch the product, I can't really get through an episode of it. So I'm not a fan. So I guess what I can ask you is, what's your first of all, hi Conrad, what's going on? Everything Pro Wrestling. Guys, go and subscribe over there. James, what's your first thought? What's your first thought when you think of TNA? Because you kind of started watching wrestling when TNA first came out.
Yeah, I knew a little bit about TNA. You know, it was on Fox Sports 1. You had Christopher Daniels, you had Samoa Joe, you got AJ Styles, and it was in a specific ring, 6-sided ring. And it was just very iconic. It was different. No one's done it. Now, yes, technically TNA did start in the square circle, you know, when they were at the NWA, so I get it. It's, you know, but it was the element of being different, you know. There was a lot of, let's be honest, there was a lot of craziness in the arena. I mean, it was retro, you know, coming down the ramp, like, you know, of course, what AEW was sporting later on with the tunnels. It was actually both sides, if I'm not mistaken, at one point, which was interesting. Yep. Yeah, so that's what I thought TNA was all about. Notoriously, the X Division was a big, you know, ordeal. The X Division match, you know, they would do like the gimmick pay-per-views, but I would say a lot better than what WWE transitioned for. You know, you had Lockdown, of course, Bound for Glory is notorious, but it was always the ring. It was different, you know. Now, of course, I understand they eventually changed it back to the square circle, you know.
So they actually started out with a square ring.
Yes.
They started out with a square ring. They eventually went to the 6 sides. I didn't really like the 6 sides. I thought it looked different, so it was nice to see every now and then. You know, like it was different.
Kind of indie-ish, I would say, but it was different, so I get it. It got the buzz.
Well, I used to watch CMLL and AAA all the time, and they also had a 6-sided ring. That was actually the first time that I had seen a 6-sided ring was with them. But when it comes down to it, man, what I think of when I think of the brand TNA, I think AJ Styles. They don't have AJ Styles now, and I don't see AJ Styles going back to TNA just because, hey, it's TNA. Another thing that comes to mind is failure. You know what I mean? Like that's the second thought. So the first thought is AJ Styles and how I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. I discovered him through TNA. You know what I mean?
Like most people, yes.
Yeah. And my second thought was all the failure that accompanied TNA. So I don't necessarily think that them switching back to the brand for nostalgia purposes is going to sell anything. Now, what I do think is that if they do bring back this brand, they could possibly have some tricks up their sleeve to change what their show is altogether. Now, if that's the case, then that's a positive. Because if TNA comes back and it's the same Impact that we've been watching for weeks upon weeks, whatever, it's not something that anybody's going to buy into. You're going to be stuck in the same spot. The bad thing about Impact is it's owned by a television company.
Yeah.
So it's not, you don't have, like if Scott Dumore owned it and he had some money in his play, he doesn't have the funding that a Tony Khan does, right? So the problem with AEW right now is attendance, but I don't think that could be the issue forever. You know what I mean? Like it's something that they could fix.
Yeah.
If their show got better. Tony Khan has the money to fix it. AEW, I believe, is going nowhere just because, you know, Tony Khan has all the money to spend. He's just like emptying his pockets on this company.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Whether he's losing it or making it.
Yeah, and it's not the way. I mean, at the start they were, you know, going up, and then they went down, and then they just stayed on the grid. Once in a while go down, once in a while go up, and then just stay steady.
Yeah, I definitely think the whole punk stuff probably hurt that company more than anything.
Easily, that was a game
Cody
changer.
Leaving.
Yep.
Another thing, we were talking about this with Conrad.
Just controversy alone was, you know, just it made bad effect to the company. And with TNA, you know, if you're gonna transition over, you know, with the moniker of TNA, which, you know, obviously we knew what you were, you know, before being changed at Impact. You got to give us a different template. You got to change some lighting. You got to just do little noticeable things will make a difference. That fans will be like, oh, okay. As for ourselves, we don't watch TNA as much. Very, very hardly.
Now, with TNA back in the day, I did. So
Yeah.
when I was watching the original TNA, I remember, another thing that I think of when I think of TNA is Jay Lethal, even though, he spent all that time in ROH as well. Jay Lethal was another thing that I thought of. Jeff Jarrett, I thought that
Jarrett easily.
He really recreated himself when it came to TNA, and he came off of that terrible run in WCW getting into TNA. So, I actually liked watching Jeff Jarrett in TNA. There's a few others, man.
Yeah. The Knockouts division was a little more lethal, I would say, compared to WWE's at the time. They were doing more extreme stuff. They were giving the women chances before WWE eventually did.
I want to say that the women's division in TNA originally was like a women's division that you see in AEW or even WWE today. Like
with the women's revolution, you had,
I think it started there. Like we had some women's wrestling in WWE, don't get me wrong, but I think that the stuff that the women were doing in TNA was much more impactful than
easily
anything else. And no pun intended, by the way, but
literally.
Just,
you had
I liked what the women were doing.
Gail Kim, you had Awesome Kong, you had the Beautiful People, you had Tracy Brooks in them there. They let them do extreme matches. They were doing ladder matches. They were doing cage matches. It took WWE how many years to eventually transition over? Another name that comes up is Abyss. He was a very big moniker to TNA. He had his own match with the Monsters Ball, I believe. I don't know if it was him or Raven. And that dude was crazy. That
was another thing. Raven had a really good run, I felt like, in TNA too. And dude, there's so many. America's Most Wanted. Have you ever watched that tag team?
Yes, America's Most Wanted. I would love to have them back one more time, but obviously.
Shout out to them too, by the way. They're also friends of the Pro Wrestling Shoot. We have attempted to get them on as an interview. I'm gonna have to reach out to a couple. I'm gonna have to reach out to them to see if we can get them on the show. We'll see.
It'll be interesting because I don't know what one of them is doing. Obviously, one's a producer in WWE, so that's gonna be iffy.
Which one was the producer again?
Bobby Roode or Robert. Well, what does he go? Bobby Roode.
Not Robert Roode. Sorry, the other one is who I'm thinking of.
James Storm.
No, that's not America's Most Wanted. That's Beer Money.
Oh no, that's Beer Money.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bobby Roode. No, that's not who I'm thinking of.
There's my TNA acknowledgement.
Yeah, no, that's Beer Money. They later on too also were a great tag team. But Alex, when it comes to like the Motor City Machine Guns, the Young Bucks, Generation Me, they were another one. At
Chris
the time.
Harris, my apologies. Chris Harris and James Storm.
Yeah, Chris Harris is the one that I talk to most of the time. I was gonna say James Storm is also in, but Chris Harris, dude. When I think of Chris Harris, I think of that running Hurricane Rana off the cage at Lockdown. Do you remember that?
Yes, it's one of the. I think it's like number one or somewhere up there in
Chris
Lockdown
Harris,
history.
Dude. I occasionally send him that gif that I have, like, dude, what were you thinking when you did this? Like, this is insane. But Chris Harris, cool dude. Hopefully we can get him on the show, man. I'll reach out to him. I haven't tried in a while because we really stopped doing interviews there for, a couple years, right? Last interview I've done now is a Symbol. A Symbol was on, and it wasn't really even an interview. We were just kind of talking about WWE 2K's future. But, yeah, dude, TNA does bring back a lot of memories. I remember never hearing about this company. Never. I was like randomly scrolling channels one day and just ran into it and seen Scott Hall on my TV. And I was like, what is this? Like wrestling? What is this?
Yeah, wait, learned about alternative? On the most randomest channel,
Ron the Truth Killings was on TV. I didn't know who he was at the time, so I got into him.
Consequences Creed.
Yeah, yep. Consequences Creed. Eric Young. There was a lot
Dixie
of people.
Carter. I didn't even know who she was.
Well, Dixie Carter wasn't
not TNA, original, but eventually she was on scene.
Yeah, it was just so much fun, man. So much fun. thinking about old TNA, if they came back with this name at Hard to Kill, you're really going to have to sell at some point something incredible for this to even make a turnaround, because like I said, a television company owning this is never a good thing. Let's get to a couple comments here. Isaiah Hill, what's going on, brother? He says, yo, fella, be right back. I actually see his comment down here. He says, hey, dudes, he came back. So everything pro wrestling. Need a manager for the match. WWE 2K about to be like $9.99, please.
I know. What is this, the network?
I hope not. Did somebody say CM Punk? He says it again. Did someone say CM Punk? Yes, we did. And that's the reason why nobody's in here. Everybody hates CM Punk. Isaiah Hill said, hold up. What is TNA? Seriously, if you don't know what TNA is, man, go and watch some stuff back in like 2010, 2011. You'll get a kick out of some of it, man. It was original. It was innovating. It was really fun, man.
It was kind of, how would I say it? There was kind of some WCW knockoffs on there, I would say. But, it was entertaining.
So when I first started watching, it's funny that you said that, because when I first scrolled past and ran into TNA, that's all I seen was a bunch of WCW guys. I was like, is this like, are they trying to bring WCW back? Like, what is
different
this?
Moniker?
Yeah, so
Ted Turner?
But there is something about that name, because when you think of TNA, you think Russo and the clown crap that he would pull, and what people
something on a pole match
when they think TNA. But that wasn't my first impression, because when I seen TNA, I read the side of the ring that said Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. I was like, that's a huge name, but I kind of dig it.
Yeah,
I kind of dig it. I mean, for branding purposes, I mean, geez, when I'm creating T-shirts or when I'm creating flyers or something like that, I'm thinking the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Like, why did I choose 4 names for this thing? You know what I mean? Why couldn't it just been one thing, like, for branding purposes? So personally, I like the name Impact more, but Impact just has that failure attached to it. You know what I mean? Same with TNA, but TNA at least has the nostalgia attached to it. Impact has like straight failure attached to it.
Yeah, it's just plain Jane. It's just Impact Wrestling, right to the point.
Yeah,
so it didn't catch eyes to me. Well, TNA, that's what it's known for. It was, like I said, the 6-sided ring was unbelievable. You thought, wait a minute, there's 2 wrestlers with 6-sided.
It was really weird. I don't think that I ever liked the 6-sided ring. I visually, it was intriguing, because you're looking at it and it's so different than what you're used to. But
it was kind of indie, indie. It kind of gave that indie look. You had an independent circuit crowd, pretty much. Practically the same, like what we're going on in NXT. And of course, one is bigger than the other.
Yeah. Jason says, I feel that AEW will get in the way of TNA truly making an impact as far as popularity. Could be, man. Look, that's the thing. If TNA is going to make a splash in the industry now to try to compete with a WWE or compete with an AEW, dude, you're going to need to sign some major, major stars. And I'm not talking a Drew Galloway either. And I'm not talking, a Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy. We're talking like a major star.
Yeah, you got to drop.
I know one that's a free agent as of now, man. I'm just saying.
Might I mention there's CM Punk? 2 of them, actually, him and Ace Steel, if you want to bring the duo.
And Will Ospreay.
Yeah, that's the interesting one. He has mentioned on AEW television that his contract is up. 6-7 months, I think, maybe longer. And he's got options. So, and he's had great times with the times he's been in Impact. Tony Khan is going to work some deal with Scott D'Amore. Hey, let's collab. Let's do some collab shows like they did in the past, where they had, they had the brothers on there. And then they obviously had Kenny Omega, so maybe it could be a boost. I don't know if that's going to be a run or they're just going to go solo. But it's competition. You have to sign someone big. And I'm pretty sure they don't have as much money as AEW, but, they do have some advantages. Their working schedule is not as crazy as AEW's. They would do a lot of tapings, and be gone for a month. They got some advantages. They got to use them. If you want to bring back that TNA nostalgia, you got to give me something. You got to hook me in.
I look, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But with the free agents like Will Ospreay and CM Punk, Ace Steel went and produced this Bound for Glory, right? So he was working as a producer on this show, I do believe.
Yes.
CM Punk was not backstage for Bound for Glory. He was actually backstage at the Impact tapings. It's speculated or rumored, whatever, that he was offered a contract of some sorts over there, and they want to sign him. And they asked him to make an appearance at Bound for Glory, which he respectfully declined. He had the Blackhawks thing that he was doing, so he was on the hockey game. But there was also a report saying that he was asked what he's going to be doing, and he says, "I don't know what I'm going to be doing soon. You have to just stay tuned." I'm going to say this, man. If I said it last week. Look, I've vouched for Sean Ross Sapp quite a bit, and I don't vouch for any dirt sheet writers or journalists on this show because they're not journalists. They're nerds. They're dorks that get dirt sheet news and spread the wealth to the other dorks on the internet. Anyway, if he's wrong about, because he's been making fun of quite a bit of fans posting, their detective work on Twitter, I guess you could say, detective work about CM Punk showing up in WWE. He's going to be eating his words, man, if CM Punk does show up at Survivor Series.
And I think I've never really fully looked at him and seen if he's ever said, I was wrong.
Well, see, when they post this stuff, they always say "as of now," James. That's their get out of jail free card.
Whoever
as
his
of now,
sourcing is,
WWE has no plans.
I mean, look, I think I would take his word. There might be, if plans change, I think he'll fully say it. I mean, whoever his sourcing was, like I said, I go back to when Dodie was up for sale and the Saudis were up there. Everyone reported it. They're sold. Mm-hmm. It's been sold. He was the only one that went live on air, and I saw him and said,
"No, dude has credibility.
He has credibility. The fact that they said they haven't talked to him, it could just be WWE using a tactic like, hey, let's try to learn some AEW fans. Let's just insult their intelligence, which WWE has done that in the past.
WWE
be
is
a
the
stranger to this
as well.
They just did more CM Punk teases yesterday on Raw. So they did one last week with Jade where she's pointing like it's time. The clock's ticking. I don't know. It's funny. USA Network is getting more involved than usual. And then he shows up to TNA tapings, which reluctantly he did the same thing with WWE. They happen to be Chicago. He goes over there. TNA, Chicago.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem with the report that he got. He claims that CM Punk and WWE haven't spoken, which could be true. But whoever's telling it, whoever his source is, I'm actually more intrigued about who his source is than I would be of a Dave Meltzer or Brian Alvarez and stuff, because I feel like Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez don't really have sources. I feel like they just make crap up as they go along from somebody else's source or whatever. They're wrong most of the time. Sean Ross Sapp usually has a good source, but I'm curious to know who his source is because supposedly it's a higher up. First of all, I don't know why somebody would want to do that and report to somebody like a dirt sheet to get that out there as a higher up. If I'm in WWE and a higher up is feeding my information over to a Sean Ross Sapp or something, I am firing this person. Like that's just who it is, man. I'm keeping kayfabe, brother. But the person who reported it said that they don't want any unrealistic expectations. So that wording alone about CM Punk coming or whatever the case is, that wording alone is weird. considering that each week it just gets worse for teases on the show. Every week they're teasing something new. Why are they making these references? Why?
Yeah.
If they don't
it's
want fans to
strange.
have unrealistic expectations, why would you even feed into all this? Why wouldn't Triple H
Right.
just come out and say, hey, CM Punk's not showing up in Chicago?
Now you've watched Raw and SmackDown more than I have. Have the fans chanted CM Punk at any point within
No.
the weeks? See,
No, that's what we said last week,
See,
too.
that is very strange. That it hasn't been chatted because when Cody was
Well,
coming
because
in,
it's only the IWC that's talking about this crap. The people in attendance at these Raws and SmackDowns, they're there for the stars that are there. Guaranteed.
Don't get me wrong, but they were chanting for Cody for weeks and weeks, and he was not on the show.
Yeah, but
and there was denial from some people in the company. He's not signing here.
That's true. And they're,
So I don't know. Now they're just
Cody also didn't make a fan favorite boss fear for his life.
No.
So.
It could be that WWE is just playing on and say, let's just reel him in. Let's just tease everyone. Why not? Let's just capitalize on this, which you can't blame them for doing it because I know AEW would do the same thing, except they would just deliver it. When they were bringing in
WWE's kind of soaking in those ticket sales for Survivor Series. They sold out, and then they opened up more tickets and sold another 2,000 tickets. I'm almost wondering if
what could be more wild?
Open it up even more.
Could it be, maybe CM Punk doesn't show up on the show, but he buys a ticket to the show and he's just in attendance? He's allowed to go to the shows. I don't think he's banned like when until Amore went to our Survivor Series
now,
and kicked
hold
out.
on. I don't necessarily think he's allowed to go to the shows. If CM Punk is in attendance for Survivor Series, WWE is not going to be happy about that because it's taking now attention off of WWE. Now, if they hadn't signed him, he's in attendance, now you're giving fans even more unrealistic expectations, right? Like, he's a plant. They planted him in the audience, you know what I mean? Sort of thing. I don't think that would be a good idea personally, but who knows what these companies are doing, man?
Yeah, I haven't heard if he's on a ban list because
No, but you're taking a
do I think he'll do that on purpose? I don't think so. Would they let him backstage? I don't know. He's been a lot before.
But he was under contract with
that was under AEW, and Vince is out of the picture at the moment.
That's true. It's true.
Who knows? But do I think he'll do something like that and buy tickets to the show? What if him and AJ show up? Hey, we're just here to watch the show like everyone else.
If CM Punk signs to TNA, is that bad for CM Punk?
Or
is it good for TNA?
I would say it's good for TNA for Punk. Look, we've heard,
he was
from
getting along with the locker room.
Yeah, I haven't heard any complaints from him from the TNA side. There is Eagles in WWE that do not want him here, which I think there is a few that don't want him here.
Roman Reigns,
Seth Rollins, and a bunch of other people in the company, which I wouldn't doubt it. He has some Eagles out there.
Mm-hmm. Corey Graves, too, by the way. Corey Graves doesn't like CM Punk.
Yeah. Now, it just depends on Hunter, depends on Nick Khan. Do we want to reach out to him? Do we
it
need
depends
him?
on Endeavor.
Yeah.
Who CM Punk has worked for.
Yeah. Would they see it as a deal? Like, hey, let's put CM Punk and, let's showcase him on UFC. I don't know if it would get much attraction. Probably not.
Dana White doesn't like CM Punk.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah. I don't recall that, but maybe you're probably right about that.
Yeah,
his 0-2 record. Sorry, 0. He has 1 win technically since the other dude was caught.
Oh yeah, that's true. Huh? He failed a drug test.
Yeah, he failed. I think it was the second fight, so he's 1-1, I guess.
Either way, that fool got smoked both
Either
times.
way, hey, he did it. He tried what he did, and it is what it is. Who knows? He's doing the cage fighting commentary. I don't know when his next scheduled appearance is. We're coming up on November, so who knows what's gonna go on? Does he care about the money? Does he care about the scheduling? Does he care about the conflict with certain people? We don't hear. TNA's not as big of a company, but we don't hear as much drama there. Mm-hmm. Same with WWE. Once in a while we'll hear some drama come out of it, but we haven't really heard no negativity from them.
It's not owned by wrestlers.
Right.
It's not ran by wrestlers.
Could he just go in and not wrestle? What if he goes in as a producer? He wants to just kick back. Could that be an ideal thing?
Is that truly the way that CM Punk should go out, though? I don't think so. I want to see Punk go out on his terms, personally, but I'd like to see him in WWE. But at the same time, you know what I mean. Somebody like Seth Rollins, who has been busting his ass off in WWE.
Would the crowd be split in WWE if he joined up over there? That would be interesting. Would fans boo him, or would they, cheer him on?
That's why I said when you were talking to me and you were saying, "Oh, the Royal Rumble's a bigger thing. It's a stadium." Yeah, but you risk half that fans being, you risk that. In Chicago, you get the pop for sure.
You do. Well, I don't know, because when we saw AEW in Chicago, it was a lot of Young Buck chants in there too, more than CM Punk chants. So it kind of threw us off.
That's true. True.
So it could be different. I mean, look, they gave Cody, they opened their arms for him. Could they do the same with Punk? It's interesting.
Cody's on a lot different terms. Cody left on good terms too, by the way.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything. I don't know if Cody was ever cool with Punk. Maybe you've looked into that. I don't know about that.
I've never heard any sort of conversations come out of that. Cody did work with Punk when he was over in AEW because, it is what it is.
They don't mention, and it's funny because WWE, once he got fired pretty much via mail on his wedding day, they took everything away from Punk. They took him away from the history books. They don't mention him. They don't acknowledge him. Usually if they want to go tease more, they would post clips on their YouTube channel of him. They haven't. They usually they're just doing like GTSs. They're doing like, just little hints in there with the promos. Ray Ripley did one of I got a lot to say off my chest. So it's interesting. Maybe they're just playing the troll card and just say, hey, find out at Survivor Series. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
That's crazy.
It's interesting. But for TNA, it would be a memorable win. Look, WCW, when they got Hogan, that's how you struck gold. Would it get you to watch TNA if Punk was on there?
I think I would check it out.
I would be interested.
Listen, anytime CM Punk is involved with anything, whether you love him, whether you hate him, the dude draws attention. You always want to see what CM Punk's going to do, say, whatever. The dude is, he gains everybody's interest immediately. So you can say you hate him all you want, or he's a cancer, or whatever the case is.
He's controversial, but it makes money.
It doesn't matter. When he's on TV, you're watching. Period.
Yeah, he's a spectacle.
So,
he's that big of a damn big deal.
Yeah. Everything Pro Wrestling says, I think 6 sides makes for less give and awkward running for some wrestlers. Gabe says, I love TB. He also says, I love TNA back in the day, so they'll have to really sell me. Everything Pro Wrestling says, TV company owning a pro wrestling company is a real kiss of death. CROH/Sinclair. Mm-hmm. And then Everything Pro Wrestling also said James Storm and Chris Harris. There you go. Yusef, what's going on, man? He says, yo, welcome to the chat. Everything Pro Wrestling hit us with the K quick. Yusef says, what's up, brothers? What's going on, Yusef? Thanks for stopping in, man. Isaiah Hill says, I checked it out. Yusuf says, TNA was fire. Used to watch it on Fox TV back in 2009/10. Everything Pro Wrestling says, fun fact, Dixie did marketing and publicity for TNA Wrestling in 2002. That's how she got in. I didn't know that. Awesome, man. Everything Pro Wrestling also says, need those Christian Cage and Kurt Angle singlets. Steve Kelly, what's going on, brother? Says, hi, guys. What's going on?
Did you say singlets?
Did I say singlets?
Yeah, singlets.
Singlets, sorry.
Signings.
Huh?
Signings.
Oh, signings, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, man. See here. Yeah, they do need to sign some big stars, man. Christian Cage wasn't a big signing back in the day. I'm going to go on and say it. Like
Kurt Angle was the bigger one.
Kurt Angle was amazing.
That was the best Kurt Angle, by the way.
Yeah. Jason
Booker
says,
T was, yeah, go ahead.
I feel that Tony Khan will try to provoke TNA and try to keep it away as competition, not because he feels that TNA will cause AEW to lose popularity, but simply because he can. I don't think Tony Khan would do that because Tony Khan has a pretty good relationship with TNA, so I don't know, man. I don't think that would happen. Not from him. That WWE would pull some petty stuff. But anyway, Steve Kelly says, hi, guys. What's going on? Steve Kelly also says, does TNA or WWE need CM Punk more? TNA definitely needs CM Punk more than
It
WWE.
would be a big boost for them.
Yeah.
We knew TNA would, back in the day, they would bring some of the, old WWE stars, when they had Road Dogg, and they would, trash talk Vince McMahon. Matt Hardy was on there. He used to do that numbers of times. I couldn't see them having some dysfunction with AEW, but they haven't worked with AEW in a good while. So I don't know if there was just some tie-offs of Candy being under for a few weeks and then poof. I don't know. We haven't heard anything. I haven't heard him say we're cool with TNA. I mean, he's working with CMML. I'm surprised he hasn't reached out.
Well, I mean, they had Kenny Omega. They had Kenny
but it wasn't
Omega
long.
on their show. No,
it wasn't long. It wasn't long, and then eventually some ties cut down, and we haven't heard no mentions.
Well, Ospreay is back and forth between Impact and AEW and stuff, so it's who knows, man. I mean, also Ospreay is not signed to either company, but that's neither here nor there.
He's testing the waters. I mean,
if AEW had a problem with him, like a deep problem, he would say, "Don't work over there. Otherwise, you're not coming over here." You know what I mean?
Which, let's be honest, Will would get more money in AEW. I think their pockets are more deep over there. Yeah, but probably less scheduling compared to AEW. I don't know. It's interesting, with Punk. Of course, I'm the same way. I do want him to finish his career, go off to the sunset, do what you can, do maybe one more WrestleMania. If the rumor was true that he was going to go there, work with the Rumble, have the tease with CM Punk, Kevin Owens, and that was going to be the end all. Which, certain pieces are adding up. I mean, you just move Kevin Owens to SmackDown. He doesn't have his tag partner anymore. What I guess I would say, if you're booking CM Punk, where do you throw him in for Survivor Series? Do you just show an appearance of him on the cam? Is he backstage talking to someone? Do you just randomly bring him out?
You bring him out. Get that.
Do you
pop.
bring him out after a match? Do you bring him during a match?
Probably
What's the reason?
I don't know. Look. If he's there, he's there, and they'll that's on them to create it. But I don't see where CM Punk would even fit in unless it's Nakamura, which is weird. But
yeah, with the whole GTS stuff,
I think it would be Nakamura. And why would you put CM Punk with a Nakamura? Why wouldn't you put a CM Punk with a Roman Reigns? And you got time to kill until we get to WrestleMania.
Nakamura is not booked, I think, for Crown Jewel. Does Punk work a deal and say, you know what, I guess I'll do Crown Jewel?
I don't see Punk going to Crown Jewel, but who knows, man?
Never say never.
Yeah.
Look, I know Punk was not cool with the Saudi deal. Kevin Owens the same way. He eventually did a match over there. You do recall that. So.
Yep. Isaiah Hill says if CM Punk shows up to WWE, I will be very mad. Why? Why? He says, Steve Kelly says, this reminds me of Brock Lesnar. What reminds you of Brock Lesnar? Everything Pro Wrestling says, NWA also put the offer out on a podcast to CM Punk. Who, Billy Corgan? Get out of here, Billy Corgan. You ain't putting no offer out.
Yeah, because, who's your next biggest draw right now? Obviously, Tyrus is not there anymore. He's over there on Fox.
Mickey James under contract with TNA, or is she going to WWE? I don't think Mickey James is making a return to WWE.
I think she had
she could.
Yeah.
She could because her husband's there now.
Right.
So, who knows, man? Who knows?
And it's funny because TNA did I don't know if you count it as a working relationship when they brought Mickey James over for the Rumble and they introduced her as TNA champion. Do you work a deal if Punk goes to TNA and then, hey, let's just squeeze him in for the Rumble for the hell of it? Could it be a conversion?
I think Mickey James was a different situation altogether. So,
which it was kind of petty. I think the way they did it of bringing back a former WWE star, not someone that's never been in the company, which was odd.
Well, it is WWE, and that's how
Yeah,
they do
breaking the
business.
barriers, breaking the forbidden door with a
They don't
former
they don't do that.
star.
But you
Yeah.
do have Triple H running the creative now, supposedly. So Triple H could make some different creative decisions. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see Triple H book a Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and like Conrad said in our private chat earlier, a Raw after Mania. Let's see how he books these years, because if Vince is truly out, then the pin's in Triple H's hands. Let's see how he books a full Mania.
And trust me, you can do the same thing with Punk like you did with Cody. A countdown, like when he first came in there. Hey, Cody Rhodes will be on in an hour and 15. Stay tuned. Then they would have a timer the whole entire thing. As much as people don't like Punk, you would be interested to watch him in WWE.
Just to see what he says.
Yeah, it would be the same effect after he did the pipe bomb. What did everyone do? They immediately watched Raw the following week.
I think it would be a shame if Punk was just kind of done with wrestling at this point. But at the same time, I mean, you can't really blame him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he's had injuries. He's had some injuries in the not many injuries in AEW. I think 2 or 3. He's 44. Does he want to keep going? Or does he want to sit back and chill? I mean, I'm not saying it's not impossible, because there is wrestlers still going on. Like Chris Jericho is in his 50s. Edge, he's almost going to be 50. So, and some of those guys in the company in WWE are, I would say, take more advice from veterans, not just blow them away like certain superstars.
Yeah.
TNA would, and even every time he goes to TNA, we hear positiveness. He's always with Jordan Grace and some higher ups in the company. Who knows? The working schedule would be a lot easier for Punk, for TNA for sure.
I'm interested to see what TNA does once it makes its return in 2024. We'll see what the selling point is, really. I mean, they've already confirmed that they're not going back to the 6-sided ring, so it's not that old look, but we could be getting the tunnels again. We could be getting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could
do you
just
get the
go
old
back to
TNA music? Do you bring back the old nostalgia like it was? Of course, you can do it without the ring, the lighting. Do you put the announcer tables at the side of the ring, like on the corner, like it used to be back then? There's a lot you can do with this. I don't watch much TNA. I don't know if they do those those hidden cameras. I'm pretty sure they still do that. I don't know. Maybe change your plan of orientation. Do you go back to Universal Studio and do the whole thing? AEW's not running over there anymore. Do you go that old school?
I don't know what the plan is, man. I really don't, because I just don't see them. A name change could be anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see it being a needle mover. I really don't. Like, you can bring nostalgia back, and you'll probably get a couple people watch it. Hard to Kill will probably be an interesting pay-per-view to watch. But other than that, man, I mean, what do you do? Yeah. Like Conrad said over here, Everything Pro Wrestling, you need a couple of signings like Kurt Angle, Christian Cage.
But and who's is it worth my money like too? Yeah, and is it worth my money? How much are TNA pay-per-views to purchase? Because we're already having issues. Like, do you? I
think they're only like $30.
Is it $30?
I think so. Could be wrong.
Yeah, there's not many people up there really to sign. I mean, WWE did have their Black Thursday fire sale pretty much of everyone that was gone. There's nothing major. I mean, yeah, you can get a couple of people in there if you want till December, so which is right before TNA emerges.
It's true.
Dolph
Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin.
Eventually, Tony's gonna have like a fire sale. Someone's gonna have to be released, or and TNA can just grab one of those guys. They're not be big marker. I mean,
some of them weren't under a non-compete clause though, because we seen B-Fab and what's his name wrestling in the Indies.
Oh, Top Dollar.
Top Dollar, yeah. They were just recently at an indie event.
He's been bugging to go to AEW. The way he did that music video, which he's not going to draw, I don't think. But TNA could prove it wrong. I mean, TNA has been a moniker of some stars that went over there and they got better. Cody was one of them that went there, and it did benefit him.
To TNA.
He was there for a brief stunt. I don't remember.
He was
much
everywhere.
About it.
He was at New Japan. He was in ROH. He was at TNA.
Bobby
like that
Lashley
dude
was
put
there.
in the work.
Drew, obviously Drew McIntyre was there. They gave him the call. So, I mean, there's benefits to it. There's been success with TNA. I don't know what somebody in the chat would tell me, or maybe what channel are they even on?
Access.
Does anybody? Are they back on
TV?
Access?
I think so. I think so.
I don't know.
We got it on the DVR, man. Like, go and check out TNA. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure I still I don't think I record every episode, but we have the channel.
Could you see? Yeah, this would be interesting. Like, like I mentioned, we haven't seen AEW and TNA work together in a good while.
Yeah.
Would they cut ties if Punk go to TNA? Hey, sorry, we don't want you here no more. We're not working ties.
100%.
He's on your roster.
Yes.
Do you do like a forbidden door with TNA and AEW? Yeah. There's a lot of pointers. Is Tony telling him, "Hey, don't sign him. We don't want him. You're gonna ruin everything." I don't know if Tony's like that with them in their ear.
I have no idea.
Who knows? But from our predictions, I would love him to go to WWE. Do I think he's gonna go there? Survivor Series would be the perfect option, but I could see the Rumble, but it would be in a random fitting thing. I don't know.
I got to tell you, man, I got an absolute headache just talking about TNA this whole time. Like, this is the first time.
Total nonstop headaches, right?
I think on the
No, I'm just kidding. TNA does have some love. Don't get me wrong. Those wrestlers do go out there and work their butts off. So I'm not going to discredit them. They've done a lot. There's fantastic talent. There is some fantastic talent that WWE would sign.
Yeah, of course. The talent is good. But the product is terrible. This is the first time that we've went this long talking
I guess
about
I
TNA.
would say this. With TNA, when we, got challenged by Brian on here to watch TNA, would it change your mind if they go into a bigger arena instead of that little small one? Would the crowd make a little bit of a difference?
If they were drawing crowds and they were... Look, fan interaction is 100% the pro wrestling selling point for me. That is just what I like to watch. Like, just watching AEW the past few weeks with, such a little crowd is depressing to me. Like, just because AEW is they're in a funk, but they're not that bad of a product to where they shouldn't be selling tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, AEW is still out there putting in the work.
Yeah, because I'm trying to see if TNA's going anywhere. They just have, they have a UK tour coming up. They have a pay-per-view coming up, Turning Point. They have a throwback. I know Impact used to do those throwback shows. That's in Toronto, but I don't see anywhere about, I don't even know where they do the shows in general. Where do they do the shows now for Impact?
I think they still do them in Florida somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but...
Good question.
It's like in a warehouse, little warehouse.
Oh, Universal Studios is open. I mean, and it worked for many years when they worked at Universal. Yeah. So I don't know what dipped.
The quality. The quality dipped.
I think that and some of the talent. Dude. I think some of the gimmicks, the talent, just some things didn't work. And I don't know if Scott D'Amore is a big letdown. I know when I eventually watched it, it was with Hogan and...
Let me ask you a question, man. Let's wrap up this TNA stuff. We had this discussion in the Pro Wrestling Shoot chat. All right. Me, you, and Conrad were involved in this. What makes the greatest of all time for a pro wrestler?
Yeah,
it's the $1 million question. Like, what do you look at? Because a lot of people throw that word out. Just like dream matches, they throw the word, the GOAT. They're saying Will Ospreay's the greatest of all time. They're saying Bryan Danielson's the greatest of all time. What makes the greatest of all time? Because I'll tell you this, neither Will Ospreay or Bryan Danielson sell tickets. Neither one.
Right.
So what is really considered the greatest of all? Because keep in mind, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's the in-ring action.
See,
This
that's the thing.
wrestling is not a real
That's the thing.
sport.
But when you, I mean, okay, when you think of Mount Rushmore, of course, Hogan's going to be up there because he was a big part of the company. You know.
He's not
Now
on
we
my
turn.
Mount Rushmore.
No, but two others they would say. I mean, I don't. I
But
think
I
he's still
think
in the intros. You know, he's a pioneer for the company. Whether we like
he's
him,
more
whether
he's
I
more than
like
a
him,
pioneer.
whether I like him or not, you know, he's still a big part of the history. For myself, okay. I know we went through this. Yes, I know it's fake. It's scripted. You know, it's professional wrestling. It's not like the NFL, Major League Baseball, all the other sports. When you bring up the
It's a
greatest
circus.
wrestler of
It's
all
dancing
time,
clowns.
you know, I think it depends how you put it. I wouldn't say greatest of all time, maybe the most valuable wrestler of all time. Like now, we brought this up of when you think of wrestling, people that haven't watched wrestling in years, like when I bring it up to people, they're like, "Oh, to some people for you, it's Hulk Hogan." For people that I've respectfully asked, they say, "Oh, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin."
Yeah,
So it's
it's a valid argument.
which don't get me wrong, there was people that would buy just for Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock because they were big.
Yeah.
Hogan was very over. He was there at a boom period. He was at the early stage and he caught on. The gimmick was, if you think about it, today's standards, it was kind of subpar. It was just very, Hulkamania, red, white, and blue, eat your vitamins and all that stuff.
Think about it this way, though, James. At the time of Hulk Hogan in the golden era, popular in the 80s to 90s, early 90s, right? Then he goes on to the biggest wrestling period of all time and still becomes one of the most popular
Yeah, he was there at the
figures
beginning.
in the Attitude Era, creating the NWO. Well, he didn't create the NWO, let's be real. But you know what I mean.
Stolen, but yes.
Yeah, well, stolen, but it was also, that it was Eric Bischoff's original thought to have him in it, and the B plan was Sting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, dude. Like for me, when I think of like the greatest of all time, he's gonna have to be like the full package. He's gonna have to have insane numbers on his merch sales. He has to be like this larger than life superstar. He has to be good on his promos. He has to, put on entertaining matches. You don't have to go out there and have 5-star bangers, considering Dave Meltzer just gives anything 5-star when it comes to AEW and New Japan.
Yeah, I think
you don't have to do that to be the greatest of all time.
It's the nostalgia. It's a throwback. Like he was a big star. He was all over the place. He was on talk shows. He was like on Mad TV, Saturday Nights Live. He was doing commercials. He was over there doing what did I just saw a blooper on him selling Hulkamania spaghetti.
Yeah.
He was in movies, which some of them were terrible. I think not all of them. WCW did knock him down a few times, but he was a huge pioneer. He was the big first star in the company. He was there for the birth. I mean, hell,
he brought the mainstream to professional wrestling.
A lot of kids loved him. You watched wrestling at that time too, and he was huge to you,
Yeah.
And he was like the innovator of how can I change myself, and he turned heel. No one expected it. And then later on, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock came into the mix, and they were just as big as him because fans were going crazy for them too.
I think this is such a subjective topic because
they did have bigger ratings than Hogan. I thought they did. Were they there? Weren't they there for the bigger ratings? Do you put ratings in the mix?
Yeah,
because I know the ticket sales. Because Hogan and that was when you had, they were just a great duo. I mean, it's toss up for me. I want to say Rock and Austin were just the duo. Like it's kind of hard to roll them out because when they were both in the ring, everybody went wild. Hulk Hogan was just by himself,
which
was just as big.
Like I said, this is a very subjective topic because a lot of people will look at the greatest of all time as just in-ring technician. To me, it's a little silly to think about, the greatest wrestler of all time has to be a super technical guy. Like, listen, they're doing these. Hold on. They're doing these moves to each other. and it's not real. You know what I mean?
But it
It's
is
not real.
impressive. It is impressive.
It is
because they
impressive,
weren't doing
yes.
this. Things have changed in the wrestling world, doing this move and this move. Lucha Libre was a huge thing back then.
Yeah.
So people have never seen it, and it has evolved. It depends how you subject it. Like for some other people, they'll say, well, talent wise, for the longest time, remember when we thought of greatest wrestlers in the Attitude Era, a lot of people thought Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Usually at that time period, that's what a lot of people based it off. Well, Bret was technical, and
If you're talking about like technical and showsmanship and everything else like that when it comes to entertaining factor,
which they were
Shawn
selling
Michaels-
tickets. They
Shawn
were
Michaels
selling
was-
tickets too.
Shawn Michaels was one of the most charismatic people that I've ever seen in the ring, and he was just incredible to watch. If you're talking about in-ring skill and technical wrestling ability, you give that to Bret Hart. You're talking about megastar, you're giving that to Hulk Hogan.
Shawn
You're
was,
giving-
Shawn was up there too. He was
Not
doing
Hulk
some
Hogan
things.
style. Shawn
No.
Michaels was in the company
He was,
as the top guy at a time that WWE almost went out of business, running up against the NWO. Think about that for a minute.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and that's no shade at Shawn Michaels either. That's just saying, like, if you're comparing a Shawn Michaels to the star caliber of a Hulk Hogan at the time in the NWO, there's no comparison. Hulk Hogan was over, dude.
Yeah.
NWO was over.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels,
Hogan, the
way
kids
better.
loved
Like,
him. Hogan
look,
was a big advocate. Kids loved him. Shawn
Yeah.
was the women.
He
was
100%.
I mean, I don't
Why
recall.
don't you sing the song for me?
No, I'm good.
Come
Yeah, I
on,
mean,
James.
did we
Do
ever
it for
see
the people, man.
Did we ever see Hulk Hogan?
Guys, will you send a super chat if James sings the song?
No, we're not.
Send
singing
James
that
a
song.
super chat to sing
You
the song.
can- no,
if they
it's
say
not-
if the
it's
people
not-
if the people in the chat send a super chat, you're singing the song.
I'm
bud.
just curious though, like, so I would say your answer would be Hulk Hogan, yes, for greatest of all time.
No, it's subjective. Like I'm saying that because
There's a lot
dude,
to it because if you
Austin-
want to say whole package, it's merchandise sales. Hogan was selling off the shelf. So was Steve Austin with the Austin 316 shirt.
Hogan was selling the NWO shirts off the shelf. Let's be real. Those NWO shirts nobody could compete with that. That was like the hottest thing ever in pro wrestling.
Austin 316 and DX were
Close.
up there. They
Close.
were up there. So it was Triple H and Shawn
that's
Michaels.
what I'm saying though. Like as the NWO, they were selling these merchandise. They were selling these T-shirts. By the way, we got a PWS shirt over on our T Public. Why don't you guys go and check that out right there? Our NWO version is much better than the regular NWO version. I'm just saying, go and check it out. Support the channel. Anyway, these guys were selling this collectively as a group, right? Steve Austin was doing his thing by himself. The Rock was doing his thing by himself. I don't think The Rock ever got up there in merchandise sales like Steve Austin did. I want to say those Austin 316 shirts were up there.
They were up there.
Generation X, same thing.
D-Generation was up there as well. NWO was just up there as well. You see them. I mean, now what do you have collective today? Bullet Club. So, they're all star makers. Rock, Austin, Hogan, Shawn, even Triple H at the early time of DX was up there.
So that's basically what I say. Like when I think of like the greatest of all time, he has to have the full package when it comes to, I don't know. It doesn't have to just be technical wrestling. I feel like you have to be good because when you think of like Will Ospreay on the mic, he's all right. Bryan Danielson, he's all right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing any shade at Bryan Danielson. He's still my favorite wrestler right now. Like, and has been for many, many years. Like, Bryan Danielson's my boy. But when it comes to the greatest of all time, I feel like you got to factor in a lot of things. You know what I mean? And once again, it's very subjective. It's a very subjective thing. I've seen this argument on Twitter, by the way, in somebody's replies. And I just thought it was intriguing how this one person was making his case. You know what I mean? On what could be the possible GOAT in pro wrestling. And I just thought it was interesting. So, it is what it is. Let's get to some comments real quick. Steve Kelly says, for me, it's Sting. By the way, Sting is retiring.
Yeah.
Sting is retiring.
And that was what I was going to bring up to. Sting was popular too. People did buy to go see Sting. We can't argue that. Which I got to reiterate. I did say like Stone Cold and The Rock paired with each other well. Hogan and Sting paired up well. And
dude,
people would buy. I know people would buy for Hogan, but it was also buying for Sting.
Listen, man, I will take a Sting and Ric Flair back in the NWA and early days of WCW over Hogan and Sting any day. But that's just me because they screwed the finish up at Starrcade. I felt like Sting and Hogan would have went together like peanut butter and jelly had it not been for Hogan's greed. It is what it is, man. Look, I was a Hogan fan, but he stepped on so many talents growing up, and he's a piece of trash, like in real life, you know what I mean? Like he is. I mean, look,
I
feel like some people should be forgiven on certain things, right? But that's not for me to decide. I'm not.
It's like
hold on. And then the dude goes on podcast after podcast and just lies about history. So it's.
I don't know. I mean, he's older. I mean, what's he gonna do? You know, I mean,
he's trying to stay relevant is all it is. It really is.
Look, you're out of the business, dude. Just give it up. Yeah. Let today's wrestlers take it over.
Yeah.
Which you got us, for everyone's take. Like I mentioned to you guys, like when you think of the NFL, some people will say Tom Brady. Oh, but you got to do a knock because he had some cheetah scandals. So you go John Montana. Oh, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, but he kind of had a couple of issues, the Sting issue, obviously what he did later on the tapes, a lot
it wasn't just Sting, it was Bret Hart, it was many others in
Shawn
WWE.
Was the same way, he had some conflict. Steve Austin, I know, had some problems. The Rock left for Hollywood, so I mean, there's a lot of, I know I've seen people throw in, you could throw in John Cena because he was big too. He was the next biggest star after those two, after all them left. I know he wasn't there for the big crowds, but he was putting butts in those seats. He was very similar to Hulk Hogan. The kids loved Cena.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hogan was for the kids. Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they were for really the adults, degenerates doing whatever they want. So it depends how you categorize.
Now wait a minute. When I grew up watching them, I wasn't an adult yet. I love.
Yeah,
The Rock.
but majority. Even things they did wasn't for the kids. Having.
I didn't have a boss at the time, but I sure wanted to go and throw a Stone Cold Stunner on my principal. That's for sure. So, man, I loved Steve Austin and Sting retiring. Man, God, I love Sting so much.
Does he go to TNA?
He's my dream interview, by the way. If I had to pick one wrestler to interview, like you got one choice, who do you want to interview? It's Sting, 100%. There's nobody else. I'll pick him over anybody.
Yeah.
So, somebody clip this and tag Sting in it because dream interview. That's the one person I would love to just sit and pick his brain, man. Sting is what a phenomenal story he has and what a phenomenal career he's given us. This last run in AEW has just been so much fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's at Full Gear. I would hope. I've never seen him wrestle in person. I've seen him at AEW, come out for appearance. So it would be, memorable to see him for one of his last, matches in AEW. Whatever he does in the fashion, I'm pretty sure I've heard that he's gonna be in a tag match or trios or whatever it is. But it would be an honor to see him. He's done so much for the company. Even things he's done that I didn't think, like, we never seen him. We never thought he was going to go to WWE. No. We didn't think he was going to go to AEW. And then obviously WCW, wow. He, there was no arch enemies that had nothing on Hogan until he came into the mix and everyone went wild for him. I mean, even the Scorpion shirts back then were selling like hotcakes. There was kids that would paint their face like Sting, and he was big,
Gabe says, for the greatest will always be Triple H. His heel work is amazing, great ring work, and his has a great mind for the business. Conrad. Look, a lot of people give Triple H a lot of crap about the Reign of Terror, man. To me, like, when I think of the big gold, a lot of people think of Ric Flair, but because the WWE version of the big gold, when I think of the big gold, I think of Triple H, man. I
See, I think of Flair, but then I think of Triple H's title.
I think of Triple
Terror,
H, man, because he, I don't know. I thought that title looked great on him for one.
He had the faction. He wasn't. I mean, he's doing it similarity to the Bloodline, which I think Evolution did a lot better. They didn't structure it as long as the Bloodline. We didn't agree with his decisions. I gotta say it. Yeah, I think Booker T should have won, but instead he got ready for Goldberg.
Isaiah Hill. We're not even going to get into it. Isaiah Hill says John Cena was my childhood hero.
Wait a minute. I'm in the same boat with Isaiah because I watched later on than you guys. And when I found out who Cena was and he was doing Dr. Dogonomics, who didn't like John Cena? Yeah. Then eventually started doing other stuff and probably maybe, 2000? Yeah. There are no more tag team champs anymore. So
do you feel me, sir?
I feel you with no gold, sir. You just lost the tag titles, sir.
Jason says people should put their disliking towards CM Punk aside for the sake of doing what is good for business. Amen, brother. CM Punk to possibly feud against RKO, LA Knight, Roman Reigns, and even Jey Uso would be great for WWE. I agree 100%.
Yeah, Steve, coming out the cult of personality.
Say that again, James.
Yeah. Oh, you were talking about that song. I thought you were talking about the other
Cult
song.
of Personality. Yes, that you said it right the first time.
Yeah, but look, he's not coming back with that. He's coming back with the most streamed WWE song.
All right, everybody in the chat, Cult of Personality.
Look,
this fire burns.
Hey, you know what?
Killswitch. I want to settle
this fire
right
burns.
now.
Look,
I'm a Killswitch Engaged fan. That song sucks.
I should have recorded it. When I asked Chris Williams, he was like, "Yeah, I like This Fire Burns was better."
No, man. Cult of Personality fits CM Punk.
Yeah, but This Fire Burns, I get it. It's not the original crew. Well, that's not his problem.
I don't want to hear
it. Got you were excited for CM Punk back then. It got him over in ECW.
Yeah. You know what? I liked CM Punk better in ROH. Honestly, when he first came to WWE, I thought that they dropped the ball with CM Punk. So I was a little disappointed. I liked CM Punk.
Don't get me wrong. Cult of Personality was, it's a fantastic song. It does get you popping. I mean, and I got it, and I got to put it in there. I mean, CM Punk was kind of a seller for me because I used to buy events for either CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. Lesnar was a big pioneer too.
And Lesnar still sells.
For my dad that hasn't watched wrestling in years, when Lesnar came in, when he eventually came back, my dad was hooked. He's like, I'm just here for Lesnar.
Nice.
He was there for Lesnar because it was like, this is the one guy that, like Biggie says, meat slapping meat or whatever he says.
Big meaty men slapping meat. Steve Kelly says the NWO was the original Shield. Lagoat, what's going on, man? Welcome to the chat. He says merch. Yes, sir. And he says your NWO joint doesn't have the WWE logo on it, right? None of our merch our merch has the PWS logo.
The people want to know when you're doing the red NWO shirt.
We could do a variant. For sure. Steve Kelly says PWS. Everything Pro Wrestling says get those likes up. Yeah, guys, if you're in the chat, do me a favor, like the video and share this to a friend, man. Get those numbers up for us. Helps us in that algorithm a little bit. Lagoat says Hogan is a scumbag. Yep. I mean, I'm not arguing it. Steve Kelly says, I have always liked Sting. Me too, man. I've been a Sting fan for life. Everything Pro Wrestling says, I truly hope Hogan is sorry and understands the hurt he has caused fans of his. Me too, man. It's terrible. Like,
the fact that
I won't get into it, but
if you go back and watch Sting, and the minute he mentions Hogan, he gets booed for mentioning it. He's smiling. Then the minute he hears the boo,
but Sting has love for Hogan, though.
Yeah, because he was there for the longest time. I mean, look, Booker T has love for him. Now I don't know about some other guys in WWE. Of course, some members of the New Day and other members. So, but it is what it is. He's not in the business, and that's just he's not around anymore. I'm surprised Tony actually let him say Hogan on TV.
He probably didn't. Tony doesn't know what these guys are going out there to say. These guys. I
mean, what's he gonna do? Shut off the mic? You're not gonna shut it off on Sting. There's no way.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Legoat says Cena kind of drove people away too. That is 100%. Like, Cena drove me away. I stopped watching wrestling there for a little bit just because I was so sick of seeing Cena.
I eventually got to that point of, yeah, I didn't like Cena because I was like, all right, this is kind of ridiculous. He's winning and winning. But it's funny because he kind of had that Tom Brady effect. Like, I didn't like the guy, but people would watch. So he, would witness, maybe he's going to lose for once. I think he kind of, eventually people turned their way and said, I actually want to watch it to see if he loses.
Yeah.
So he kind of had that effect.
Everything Pro Wrestling says Reign of Terror. He's got, jeez.
Yeah.
Legoat crying, and he says, yeet. You feel him, sir. Cult of Personality is what I'm hearing from Everything Pro Wrestling. Cult of Personality is what I'm hearing from Legoat. Isaiah Hill says, my GOAT of WWE is John Cena. He's a John Cena fan. Legoat says, yo, y'all see Hogan listening to Jeezy? Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I saw that. Go boo this man. I'm surprised he's the only one that I know watches.
Boo this man.
Hogan knows best. I don't know who in the world. I can't believe you watch all 4 seasons of that.
I don't think I watched all 4 seasons. I think I watched that first season that was
and
out.
I seen the clip. I'm like, he's over here.
Listen, man, it was before all the controversy happened. I grew up a Hogan fan. What do you want me to say? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm out here supporting this man now. Like, I'm not over here buying his merchandise. Except for the Rip 'em shirt. Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Because he was a real scumbag of, hey, somebody passed away. Hey, but the Hulk Hogan merchandise needs to be on sale. Come on. Hey, Mean Gene. Sorry, brother. Sorry, Mean Gene. I got to put my merchandise on there.
Hey, you want to throw this on the rack real quick? Jason says, calling guys like Bryan Danielson, John Cena, and whoever else the greatest of all time is offensive towards guys like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Undertaker. The term GOAT should never be used loosely. I agree. But same with the term
Flair.
dream match. Dream match.
I mean, look, we're not going to be a saint. Yeah, AEW does it, but so does WWE. Like, this is the greatest match of all time. Okay, yeah, because Edge and Orton, that one, it was the greatest of all time. It was 45 minutes.
Have you heard the story on that, though? They knew, like, what they were doing.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
Everything's
not
a
the
dream.
same as Tony Khan going out there and saying, we got a dream match. Bryan Danielson versus Andrade.
Malachi Black would have been a dream match.
That would have been cool, yeah. Pineapple Juice, Stephen Kelly says. Legoat says, goat talk varies, though. Like, some people like different stuff. Exactly. Like, it's a very subjective subject.
You can go by this, and I know it's not a real sport, but some people say, well, who won the most championships? Who won by this? Who has? It's the same with like sports. Who has the most rings? You can say Bill Russell, with Michael Jordan. It depends how you look at it. There's a lot of ways to categorize it.
You hear this, and it doesn't go the other way around. Isaiah Hill says Cult of Personality is fire. Not This Fire Still Burns, but Cult of Personality is fire.
He's coming back with This Fire Burns.
Garbage. Everything Pro Wrestling rolls his eyes at dream match. Steve Kelly says, will Sting face Darby for his final match? That's a good question. Will Sting even have a singles match in his final match, or is it going to be a tag match with Darby? What do you think?
Do they win the tag gold? Does Sting win the title on his last time?
Doubtful.
Would Tony put it in mind, like, hey, let's have MJF versus Sting for the title? Let Sting win it one more time, retire. Then your favorite thing comes up, a tournament. The Tony Khan special, which I know I'm pretty sure Sting's like, no, I don't want to do any of that.
The Tony Khan special,
yeah.
The tournament. That's what we're gonna call it from now on.
Look, you do have a
he booked another
circumstance
Tony
right
Khan
now.
special.
You don't have Adam Cole. I don't know how long he's gonna be out for. Will he be ready by the time Sting's retirement match? Do you have them try to go after the gold, Sting and Darby?
No.
Would you be opposed to it?
Yes. You're going to have them go after the ROH tag titles? Like, come on, man.
I mean,
Sting wins his ROH tag titles on the way
farewell,
out.
Farewell.
Come on. No, absolutely not. I don't even think Sting wants
do
that.
Do they tease it? Do they tease you and, go WWE route? Hey, this whole thing about retirement, you got to beat me for the retirement.
They could
tease that, like,
that was a good story.
The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels type of thing.
It was a good
If I
story,
lose,
but you knew that at WrestleMania it was over. You know what I mean? So like,
do they tease it? Let's do the. I don't. Has Sting lost a match in AEW? No, huh? I don't think he has.
I don't think he has been pinned
Do
in
you
AEW.
know?
No,
Yeah, and if he fights Darby, do you have Darby beat him? If that's the case,
I think Sting would have Darby beat him. Yeah, Sting's really old school, so I
yeah,
think he would.
he's gonna do
Interesting.
something
I kind of
memorable.
don't want to see Darby versus Sting, though. I know a lot of people talk about this match, but I don't want to see that
You know,
match.
mentor versus student. Do you put? Do you do a regular match for Sting? Do you do an
I
extreme
think
match?
Sting versus
Street?
Chris Jericho would be a good final match. Personally,
Yeah,
I
I don't know
wanted to see
whatever
it at
happened with that.
WrestleDream.
I think they were against that, or some. I know Sting wanted, or I think
Yeah.
Jericho at first didn't want to do it. Then I heard he does.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Who knows? But I'm assuming the next match is going to be with Christian Cage. Well, not Christian Cage. Nick Wayne, Luchasaurus, and it's probably Sting and Darby for all I know, in like a street brawl or something. I don't know.
The list is kind of small on what you would have Sting do in this situation. Personally, like I don't know who he would want to face.
Yeah. Is there, would he, I don't know if how his schedule is. Would he want to show up to every Dynamite and wrestle on every single one in Collisions? I know he's older, but, would he be willing to do that? Or is he just going to do pay-per-view appearances and once in a while Dynamite appearances?
Isaiah Hill, he says, I never really liked Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I think that it's because you probably grew up in the Cena era. So if you grew up in that era, I mean, Hogan, you had to be an 80s kid to be a Hulkamaniac, man. Like it was just a whole different thing. Legoat says no losses in AEW. Steve Kelly says, I will be Sting's last match. Legoat says, no Flair, please. 100%. Yeah, you don't know. I think that James was talking about the way that Ric Flair went out. You do a series of matches. The next time you
Yeah,
lose,
no,
you
I think
retire.
Sting would have the
We're not
respect
talking
and say,
about bringing Flair back. by
no,
all
no,
means.
no, which I don't know where he would go. I hope, yeah, I know he wants to do one more match.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people have pushed this idea. Would WWE entertain it of Sting and Taker? Because we've never gotten it. Opinions. I know they're much older. Would they exercise the idea one more time?
I don't know, man. Wayne, welcome to the chat. He says 90s kids loved Hogan NWO version. 100%, man. It was a whole thing back then. It was a whole thing. Like it was a different era, man. Hogan was larger than life in two different eras, which is crazy.
Yeah, I have NWO shirts, but will not see me wearing Hulkamania shirts.
No. You know
Not
what you
in my
need to do
closet.
is swap that NWO shirt out for a PWS shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Go and do that. T-Public. Go check it out. Description. It's in the
Right
description.
around Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Discounts, man. There's discounts right now. There's Halloween discounts over there on T-Public. 50% off. 30% off. Go check it out, man. Check it out. Guys, I think that's about a wrap for us over here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Do me a favor. Like the video. If you're listening on the audio platforms, give us a 5-star rate and a friendly review. That helps us reach more people. Follow us everywhere, man. You see the graphics over here. If you're watching on YouTube, everywhere. We're everywhere. James, what's that tag?
At the Pro Wrestling Shoot.
Why?
Sorry, I got distracted here. I was watching Brian Pillman Jr. For a second. Yeah, the Pro Wrestling Shoot, buddy. We have.
But why though? Why is it at the Pro Wrestling Shoot?
Man, we got no limitations. We say what's on our mind.
Nah, damn it. You never learn. It's because branding matters. That is the quote.
Look, it's not on the T-shirt.
You've been on the show for 3.
Let me go get the
effing
T-shirt.
years.
Let me
Read
go
'em
get the
and
T-shirt. Let me go get.
Weep.
It doesn't say that on my T-shirt.
It's branding matters. We're gonna get out of here and let you guys watch Lexus King. Go and check that out, man. Let me see. Wayne says Wolfpack now, and then he says do playthroughs on WWE games. I don't know if I'm gonna do playthroughs, But I will show you, like, when 2K24 comes out, we're going to be making some My
The
Rise
fans want to
videos.
see you. The fans want to see you play Backstage Assault one more time.
One more time, brother. He says
Backstage Assault.
He says play the old WWE games. So here's the thing, bud. I don't have a caption card, nor do I own any of the old wrestling games anymore.
That's where I come in. I do have some of the old games on.
Do you have SmackDown Here Comes the Pain?
I do. I do have it on me.
Ship me that, please.
I do have it on me. It's somewhere in the closet, but yeah,
ship
it's in there.
Me that game. I'll pay you for it.
I got some of the SVR games, 2006, 7.
Once I go and get this new caption card, I will try to do some playthroughs for you, Wayne. We're going to be doing a whole lot of
N64 games?
No N64. You wouldn't do? No, sir. No.
I got the Nintendo right in the closet.
I'm going to stick with my PlayStation 5. That's where I'm going to be hanging out. So send me that game. Definitely need to play it.
Let me make sure it's
backwards
not
compatible, right?
It's been a while.
Yeah. Or do I need to go and buy a friggin' PS3 to play it?
That's a good question. Let me see. Hold your thought right there.
Anyway, ship me that. I need to play that. I've been wanting to play that game and make some videos on it. So yes. Everything Pro Wrestling says send me a 64. I have a Nintendo 64.
Conrad, I have the 64. Yeah,
I have a 64 still.
$50. It depends on the game, so I don't know if it's gonna work. You might have to buy a PlayStation 2. It depends. It depends. It says some games released on the original PlayStation, PS2, PS3 can also be played on the PS5. I don't know. However, there's a catch. Only PS4 games. You can't use the original CDs or DVDs on the PS5.
So it's anything on. So you can download it on like the Sony store.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to be on there. I doubt it.
Lagoat says Fight Forever Season 2. Listen, man, if Fight Forever picks up, if something cool happens with that game, then I will make some more content.
Is there any updates to that game? I haven't heard anything. Did they give us new attires? You know, I guess that you can say that.
I don't. Look, new attires are not going to bring me back to that game. They're going to have to fix those reversals. They're going to have to make the timing make sense. They're going to have to give me more matches. I refuse to play that game at this point. Like, it's done for me. Like, it's donezo. If they release some cool updates in the season 2, and I'm not talking roster either because I don't care about your roster. So if you're just releasing, superstars or wrestlers, sorry, then yeah, it's not for me. But if you're releasing match types and different creation features or something like that, something to keep me interested, I will play Fight Forever again. But until then, I'm probably sticking with WWE 2K24, and if I can get away with playing Here Comes the Pain or some of those old games that James is about to send me, then I will play those. But other than that,
let me see, there's one more thought. Let me double check.
Marble, welcome to the chat. He says CM Punk will return to WWE. Hopefully, man. I'd like to see it. CM Punk versus John Cena, and then he says
you could.
Hold on. CM Punk versus CM Punk 2K24. Steve Kelly Fight Forever at Walmart is back at $60. Good Lord.
Are you serious?
Nobody buy that. Marvel says CM Punk versus Cody. Isaiah Hill says, good night, y'all. I'm going to bed. Good night, Isaiah. Thanks for stopping in, hanging out with us, man. I appreciate you. Go ahead, James.
You could try to play it on PC. Here Comes the Pain, but I don't know. I think you can adapt your controller to it. Try to play it off that.
Now,
I think it's a free. Let me see.
With the disc, or you just download it?
Let's see. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. This is on Amazon.in. I don't know what the heck in. Hopefully that doesn't mean Indonesia.
Interesting.
And that's and then it says, let's see, Ocean the Game says free download for Here Comes the Pain. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. Try to play it on the PC.
That's malware, sir. I'm not doing it.
No, I know it's malware.
Was that one? That's a trap.
Just accept those cookies,
That's bait.
Just click OK. Allow the cookies in.
No, I'm good, man. Wayne says, will Sting return to WWE? I doubt it, man. I doubt it. Prince, welcome to the chat. He says,
Hall of Fame induction.
Prince says, Fight Forever Season 2 DLC. Man, look, that game's going to have to be something special for me to hop back on it. Wayne says, will Sting get the WWE Legends contract after AEW, or will he stay with AEW after retirement? He may get the Legends contract so that way he can get merchandising deals. I don't know.
Hall of Fame. Do you think he should go in the Hall of Fame? Did he get inducted?
Yeah, he got inducted, fool.
I don't remember that.
The Hall of Famer. Steve Kelly says, I missed the WCW PS
oh, yeah, 2016.
Games.
Okay.
Marvel says CM Punk will join Paul Heyman. Hopefully, man, we'll see what happens to CM Punk. We will keep you updated. Until then, we are going to return right back here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Halloween themed out next week, guys. So, yeah. Bring all the candy over here to the chat.
Yeah.
Get hype. Be here at the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Go and check out our short content as well. We got a lot of awesome videos over there for WWE 2K24. Go and check it out. More to come. Brian Williams will be on the show before or after 2K24 releases, maybe after. We will be talking the game, so a lot to look forward to over here at the Pro Wrestling Shoot. We will be here next week, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same time, Tuesday night, guys, during NXT. Come over and check us out at the Pro Wrestling Shoot everywhere. I'm Jesse. He's James. We will see you next week right here on the Pro Wrestling Shoot. Pro Wrestling!